Hey guys, welcome in. It's the Outspoken Network. We are back, guys. It's your hosts, Brian and Craig. Craig, brother man, how's it going?
Howdy, sir.
Good to be back. We are ready. We are rolling. We are getting into the NFL season as we start off. Baseball's kicking off the second half of their season as well. We got some tight races there, but it's all about football right now, buddy. We got spring trainings going on. We had the Hall of Fame game last week. And I don't know about you, Craig, but I don't watch preseason football. Do you watch preseason
Not,
football?
not, not very much. I mean, like, there's nothing else I'm doing at the time, and I happen to come across it on whatever ancient channel it's on. Yeah, maybe,
I
but you know,
Only
um,
part of the Hall of Fame game I watched was when I got my haircut at Sports Clips
yeah,
earlier. They were
ESPN
showing
the
the fourth
Ocho or
quarter
whatever
about
preseason
yeah
football comes on now.
pre
No, I don't really. I mean, nobody
preseason.
plays. It bothers me that the tickets are still just as much for a preseason game as deal.
Yeah,
So yeah, no,
preseason football to me only means football's right around the corner. That's all it
yeah,
means, and it's
yeah.
and it's a lovely time of
You
the
just
year.
pray that 4 weeks go by and none of your big guys get hurt. That's what you pray for.
Oh yeah, it's been yeah. We'll get into that a little bit here too later on. Um, We got episode 210 here, top 10 quarterback list. I'm interested, Craig, to see what your top 10 quarterback list is compared to mine. I think last year we were pretty much similar.
I think
I
we had the
think it's
same 10 names. We just had them in different
different order.
different
We
order.
might have some differences in it
Yeah,
this
yeah. There
year.
could be some different
We
names that
we
come in.
probably will. Um, but going, I mean, number one, we're gonna go from 1 to 10 because the back half will probably get more interesting than the first half.
If one's not universal, then I don't
When
know what.
then we might as well stop the
You
show.
stop the
If
shot.
number
Stop
one is not Patrick Mahomes, then we
Yeah.
might as well quit our jobs because
After last season,
um
that's it. Because I thought with the loss of Hill, he would struggle, and he said, "Craig, bring the apology tour bus right through Arrowhead, because
I was in the passenger side of
yeah,
that.
yeah, because I am
We doubled down last year
yeah
and he looked like
right
made
on
us look like
through
an idiot.
because
Yeah.
yeah, because he was the league MVP and just won all the games, and so um
Well, now
yeah
let me throw this reference out there because if this is the first show people are watching and they think Patrick Mahomes sucks, I'm never listening to these guys again. No. Let's get it straight. We didn't think that. We thought he would drop off a little bit without Hill, but we were
yeah there
wrong.
would be
We were wrong.
some kind of a have to
Yeah.
work a little harder, have to new flaws in the offense, and they just never missed a beat.
Yeah. And this year, it's going to be no difference. This
I
guy's
don't, yeah, no.
they're the team to beat, and they're stacked in
But
a tough AFC conference there, and they're 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 the top dog of the
yeah,
NFL, and
until somebody proves me differently. I mean, Cincinnati has made a very good case,
yeah,
but
that's going to be a rivalry that
it is
we
going to
got
be
to
for
watch.
years to come. I mean, both those guys are super young, and it's going to be that the battle for years to come, as long as both of them can stay healthy.
Speaking of Cincinnati, my number two is Joe Burrow. I don't think there's any question here. This kid came in from LSU. I love to watch him in LSU. If I wasn't a Packers fan, diehard Packers fan, I would jump on the Bengals train here because Joe Burrow is an absolute beast. And the way he comes in, he plays with such confidence, with swag, whatever you want to call it. He's been fantastic. And him and Jamar Chase have got a connection. Like but nobody else's business. And I just hope, we did see Joe Burrow get hurt with a calf injury, and over the OTAs. I hope it's nothing big, because the football does not need that. But I don't know where else to put Joe Burrow on this list except number two.
Yeah, I don't. I don't. They said several weeks. I don't know what the word "several" means. I'm. It sounds like he might miss a couple of the opening games, but we'll see.
And that could put a damper on their season in
I'd
a
have to
tough
go look
division.
up a schedule
In
and
a
see
tough
what they
division.
play.
Yeah.
But yes, a couple games could hurt you. But funny because growing up when I was real young, I was a Bengals fan, like Boomer Esiason and Icky Woods and Taylor and all those guys.
A little before my time.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when they went to the Super Bowl against the 49ers in Montana, they were, I don't know, minute and a half from winning the Super Bowl, and another immaculate drive by Montana saves the day, and crushes Bengals fans' hearts forever. So, but yeah, Burrow's 2 for me as well. The kid is he's got ice water in his veins, and every time you doubt him, and him and that head coach have a very good trust factor in each other. So I just absolutely
Very, very underrated head coach. I
100%
don't think he gets a lot of credit
know anything
at
about
all.
before he came
Yeah.
on the scene. He came out, and this guy, I'm like, who's this guy? And he's just done an amazing job with that football team.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. This defense has played hard, and I just really like this football team. Um, Go ahead. I think our number 3 is going to be unanimous as well. He took a little bit of a hit last year. Josh Allen's my number 3,
Yep.
and I moved him down a little bit. I think last year I had him number 2 on the list. To me, this year, Josh Allen, this is his prove it year. We've seen you be really good. We've seen you get better. But we got to see something else. We got to see you take that team to the next level. There's some games last year where we thought he was going to carry him, and he really kind of fell flat.
Yeah, they lost a couple games last year that were just like, what?
Yeah, what are we doing?
And I think those were after the elbow injury, that UCL
Yeah.
strain or whatever he had. So I'm hoping that's healed, and he doesn't have any lingering effects from that. And because you definitely saw he didn't throw the ball further down the field. He wasn't as accurate
with it.
Yeah, he wasn't very as accurate. He threw some bad passes last year. So
they didn't, as a team, they didn't go out and make a game-changing play in the off season. And we talked about this last week.
yeah, no.
It was actually 2 weeks ago. If you haven't watched our episode or listened to it, go listen to episode 209. We came up with questions for every team in the NFL, and we both said basically this is kind of the prove it year for the Bills. And if they don't get past the point, then they might blow it up. I mean,
yeah, blow it up and start over. And the head coach is even though with as much success as he's had there, the head coach is probably out if they don't make a deep run in the playoffs. I would think if he doesn't, I would think that's an AFC championship or bust kind of to deal. If he goes out in the first or second round and they get beat, or God forbid they don't make the playoffs, like I believe he would be probably out to lose his job, and maybe the general manager as well, because they just can't seem to add. They got the Diggs controversy. They've got no real running back.
Dalvin Cook's still out there, guys.
He is. And there's been talks about the Jets, and then that went away. And then, of course, the Cowboys are always in that rumor. And then, and then I heard Zeke was going to go and visit, but I never heard anything come of it. So it's really weird.
Yeah, and and then you also got the relationship between him and Diggs is kind of last year kind of blew up on the sideline and had some issues. And I don't think, unless they have that success like we just talked about, that's going to be somewhere that Diggs wants to play next year. If they don't get past that point. But I digress. Number 4, Craig, who do you have at number 4? I mean, this one's an interesting one. Who do you got there?
Justin Herbert. Even without the success of playoffs and everything, this kid is just solid. He makes all the throws, and I think if he can keep the guys around him healthy and give him weapons for longer periods of time down into the season, I think they can make some deals. I know what Jeff says and how they always seem to do Charger things down when it comes late in the season and they lose games they're not supposed to. I'll be very curious to see on how Kellen Moore puts his fingerprints on that offense and works with Herbert, and see how well that works. And see if it was just if it was really Dak Prescott that was kind of holding the offense and Kellen Moore back, or if it was Kellen Moore, and he is predictable, and the Chargers have the same problems that the Cowboys had, down the thing, because they always started fast. The Cowboys would always start the first month and put up, a billion points,
And
and
then
then
it
as
slowed
the
down.
season went down,
Yeah.
it dwindled. So I'll be interested to see if the Chargers have the same kind of problem.
I got Herbert here as well at number 4. And, you talk about, not having that playoff success, and he hasn't. I think kind of people are kind of backing off. Okay, we got to see this guy start winning some games. The talent is there. He can make every throw in the book. He's got a big arm. He makes he makes smart decisions with the football. I'm not, you know, I think if they don't do well this year, I think you're looking at a head coaching change. Um, I'm interested to see what Moore can do here. I wasn't a big fan of him because of that inconsistency there in Dallas of where the team would put up 30 points a game and then they dropped off big time. And it's all about making adjustments in the NFL. And he's got to make those adjustments, and we're going to figure it out real fast if this is going to work or not, I think. And Justin Herbert, though, all the talent in the world, I think after this year, if he doesn't make that next step up, then we're going to have to drop him down a little bit more in this list. But right now, I don't think there's a quarterback that I can put above him other than the first 3 that we did on this list. So I got Justin Herbert there at number 4. I thought about pitting my next guy there, and I got Aaron Rodgers at number 5. And he 2 years ago, he was back-to-back MVPs. Then he had a really bad year last year. And I think the Jets are going to have a successful football season. Now, that's also going to also depend on your definition of success. I talked to one of my buddy's moms. She's like a second mom to me, and she's a Jets fan. And I said, "Man, you are going to be good this year, I think, with Aaron Rodgers." And she's like, "If we haven't made the playoffs in over a decade, so I don't know what good is. I'll settle for that." So I just think a lot of this with Aaron Rodgers is going to be he's motivated to play now. He wasn't really motivated to play in Green Bay last year. I think the maybe the love of the game wasn't there with him last year. I think he's found that back. He went to the team he wanted to go to. He's got a whole new fresh start, and sometimes a fresh start could get you rejuvenated. I just think with the weapons they have, I'm not a big fan of Robert Saleh one bit, but I just think of the weapons they have with his talent. He's still got a good arm. He still makes some great throws. I think the Jets will have a successful season. Are they going to win I think they're going to fight for the division. Depends on how Buffalo and Miami is going to do. I think they're a playoff team. But if there's anything like we've seen in Green Bay, you're going to have a lot of regular season wins and a lot of playoff disappointment.
I have Aaron Rodgers as well. He wants to be there. He wants to play football. He goes and takes a $35 million pay cut
big middle finger to Green Bay, you bastard.
To try to help. Maybe the Dalvin Cook, money, maybe some other things. He restructures a contract, which he absolutely refused to do, or else, the wide receiver would still be there.
Adams.
Yeah. And so he's taken a lot of guys and a lot of pieces that he had success with in Green Bay and moved them up north. And but my interesting deal is Aaron Rodgers has never really been a media type guy. The relax comment and the keep my coach's name out your mouth comment, and so he's been very testy. He gets very testy, and especially if he ever has a bad game and has to answer questions. Well, the New York media is not for the faint of heart, and so it will be interesting to see on how he handles the New York media, and especially if they have some adversity somewhere in the course of the season, how Aaron Rodgers responds to that and how he, if it affects his game. Because sometimes people go to New York and they get chewed up and spit out. And, their game just does not translate. Ask some of the guys that play for the Mets who thought it was a great idea to go there, and they are not there anymore because they didn't like the New York media. So I have Aaron Rodgers as well. I think here is where we start to.
This is the biggest
this
drop.
is where we start to get all off where the train starts to come off the tracks a little bit.
It is definitely. You're not going to like my number 6. Definitely not my number 7. I'm going to let you lead the way here, though, Craig. Give me your number 6 before I drop a bomb on you.
I'm going to go with Tua. If he can stay healthy, this kid absolutely lit the world on fire last year with the 2 wide receivers he has, and that head coach, and talk about a head coach and a quarterback who are on the same page and can really do things and have success. When Tua Tagovailoa was healthy, that was absolutely a very good combination, and they won a lot of football games. They beat Buffalo. They won a lot of football games last year, and I think they can, if he stays healthy, I believe they can compete for this division.
That's an interesting one. Definitely, I gotta agree with you. I don't know if I would put him up that high. But I would have to agree with you. If he's healthy last year with a new coaching change coming here, they look like a completely different football team. And his health's going to be a big part of that. And if they can have any kind of that success like they had last year when he was healthy, then I could see him and being a top 10 quarterback. I don't know if I have him that high. This one's gonna blow your mind, Craig. I have Jalen Hurts at number 6. Jalen Hurts, after the year he just had,
say that one more time.
After the year, you got to put that in. After coming off of last season.
After the one.
Yes, it was one.
This many. One. Let's just anoint him as the next Joe Montana. Stop it.
I didn't say Joe Montana. He's a top 10 quarterback in my opinion.
He's top 10, but he's not
7 with the offense that they have, the throws he made last year, his ability to run the ball, I have him here at 6. He looked really good last year. Now next year we might see him drop off the top 10 list.
Might just right now, off the side of the mountain.
Huh?
Might just fall right off the side of the mountain.
It could. And
a blind squirrel finds an acorn every once in a while.
I agree with you to a certain extent, and I even said we need to see this have success again.
Yeah, but going off, we're waiting.
Going off the top 10 quarterbacks, you take into what they did last year, what you're looking at this year. Did they get any more offensive weapons? I think the weapons they have around him,
they're solid.
Are solid. I think that's why he's going to have another solid season.
They also just paid him, and we'll see what the salary cap, and you won't be able to keep that together for very many years.
Yeah.
And I think he is a Lamar Jackson Jr., where you have to have the perfect around him or better around him.
To me, he's better than Lamar.
He is. But what I'm saying, he's similar in that aspect where he has to have that around him. If he doesn't have that around him, then he's not great.
Well, we could also say that about another quarterback in your division.
I totally agree.
But I digress. Now, I have him there. I do have him there. And I hope Ryan Sims is listening because he's going to lose his mind that I have him above Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Number 7. You want to go or you want me to go first? I got Daniel Jones. Just kidding. Oh, the look on your face is priceless.
Get out.
No, I put Daniel Jones, JK. I got Dak Prescott here at number 7.
All right.
This is his prove it year, and I've said that before, but this is really it. If he's been in the league 7 years, you've got to figure something out with this guy. And he's the other guy I said he needs kind of a lot around him to be successful.
He does, and I'm curious to see what giving him the keys to the car. And there was an interview with CeeDee Lamb where it says, now Dak does everything. He calls the plays. He gets to the line, and he doesn't even have to say anything. So the predictability of the calls that he's making or the people that he's looking at, they've given him a deal of the nonverbal deal where all he does is touches his shoulder or grabs his face mask or puts his mouthpiece in or whatever the magic signal is, and he said that could change one thing or that could change everybody's job altogether. He said, and they've worked on this supposedly since San Francisco, and so it will be very interesting to see if that's
a lot of talk. I mean, living in Fort Worth and hearing 105.3 The Fan. A lot of talk has been, they call it dumbing down the offense, and that has a negative effect. Like, oh well, they're gonna dumb it down because Dak's not smart enough. I don't think that's what that means. What it means, in my opinion, is you simplify it more. You get everyone on the same page. You have easy route running where you're getting your wide receivers open off of screens and off of different plays and different picks here and different slants, whatever. I don't think when people hear they say dumb down the offense, I'm not sure that's a bad thing for the Dallas Cowboys. And if the offense doesn't have to be complicated but it's working, I don't see the bad thing there. And I think McCarthy, if I gotta give one good thing to say about Coach McCarthy, is he's good at dumbing down offenses. In Green Bay, his time in Green Bay, he got predictable at a certain point. He didn't make those adjustments, and I think that's gonna be a problem for the Cowboys this year. But if he continues his job after the season. But he is not a terrible play caller. I don't, and we were just consistent in Green Bay. I don't think you're going to see that drop off like you had with Kellen Moore. We talked about them scoring 35 points the first 3 weeks, and then it kind of fell off. So we'll see. Right now, well, we can get this a little bit more into the Dallas Cowboys on other things, but I have Dak Prescott there at number 7. I thought it'd be funny to throw Daniel Jones out there and watch the vein bulge in your forehead.
I have Prescott as well, and this is Kellen Moore's always known as the whiz kid. Everything had to be fancy. And my biggest complaint about Kellen Moore was in the middle of the game when you needed it most. He'd always run a gadget play. He was always running flea flickers. He was always running, reverses. He was always running, this guy throw the ball, the wide receiver throw the ball. Stop. Just let the guys get open. Let CeeDee Lamb's your best route runner. Get that guy open. He's unguardable. Him and Jason Garrett were always known as him and Garrett were always, they never would run the pick play. They would never screen. It's supposed to be illegal, but every other NFL team does it except the Dallas Cowboys. And so I guess Jeff agrees with us. He said that's a realistic spot for Dak until proven wrong. But yeah, I think this is a year that he has to prove that, and he can't have 100 interceptions, and hopefully that's better. Some of those were not his last year. A lot of those were off wide receivers' hands, or you'd look at it and the wide receiver and just would quit in the middle of the route, or you'd have two guys that were in the same spot running into each other. And I think those are the things that you have to clean up in Dallas.
I think you're right. And you hit it right there. Jeff said it's a year for Mike and Dak to prove themselves. And I totally agree with you, Jeff. I don't know if you were on here a second ago, but Dak Prescott, this is his 7th year in the league. We know what Dak is. He's got to take that next step. And this is it. And I don't think with McCarthy, I think he's kind of on a hot seat of here. Hey, Jerry Jones thinks we're good enough. I honestly think it's NFC championship or bust for his job. I don't think making the playoffs is going to be a job saver for Mike McCarthy after the season, because Jerry Jones ain't getting much younger. So we'll have to see. Number 8, and this is a guy I could have put over Dak, and I could have put over Jalen Hurts. I picked Kirk Cousins at number 8. Kirk Cousins is a decent quarterback who puts up numbers. He's pretty consistent. They had a good year last year. Their defense was atrocious. They were like the 31st ranked defense in the NFL. Um, that's got to get better. But I think Kirk Cousins doesn't get the respect that he deserves. So I'm going to give him that respect. I put him at number 8. They got the offense. They got the weapons. Um, they're the team to beat right now in the North, in my opinion. And I think his consistency and with Jefferson and this offense, I think they're going to be a good team.
I actually agree, and I have him in the same spot. My biggest question mark is how he does without Dalvin. What that does to because it's going to be all on his shoulders now. He has a great thing with, and they lost the other wide receiver on the other side, Thielen. So they lose Thielen and they lose Dalvin Cook. That'll be interesting to see if teams can now kind of bracket Justin Jefferson and take him out of the offense now that they don't really have to worry about Dalvin Cook. They don't have to worry about Adam Thielen. They don't have to worry about they had Diggs. They used to have a lot of weapons, and now they're kind of centrally just Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. And so that will be interesting to see if that really affects him the way that we think that it was supposed to affect some of these other quarterbacks last year, losing their targets. So, but I do have him here in that aspect as well.
And let me say this as far as the front runners to win the North. The North is not a good division anymore. You got the Bears, who are terrible. You got the Packers, who might be terrible this year. I've heard bad things about Jordan Love this offseason, or this OTAs. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure about the Lions, so I think they're the team to beat, but I don't think they're going to come out and have a year like they did last year where they won 13 games. So, number 9, Craig. Go ahead and give us your number 9 there.
I have Hurts. He had a really good season. You can't deny that. And if he was able to stack those kind of numbers for consistency, then he will need to be higher on the list. But the running quarterback, the 1-year wonder type deal, I need to see more of that before I just go and say that he's going to be hugely successful. I think that quarterback and coach, that coach is very good for him. I think they did put a bunch of talent around him. That wide receiver, when they get A.J. Brown, that made that team very dangerous. And if you don't keep that guy under control, and then they have the other kid from Alabama, Smith, Devontae Smith, he had a wonderful year last year. So it's not one-dimensional. It's they're able to spread the ball around. We'll be interested to see. He did lose his running back.
Yeah.
We'll be able to see if that guy had a career year last year to take a lot of heat off of Jalen Hurts. So we'll see if they can have success in that.
You could see 2,000-yard wide receivers next year in the Eagles.
You very easily could, and you could see 2,000-yard receivers in 2 different places in that division.
Yeah,
in Cooks and Lamb and Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Those are very good possibilities.
Yeah, those 2 teams are obviously going to win the division,
and they're both going to throw the ball a lot more than they did last year because both the running games have taken a huge hit. Pollard's workload can't handle what Zeke used to, and so it's going to be on the arm of Rayne Dakota Prescott.
One of those 2 teams are going to win the division next year. I don't think that's obvious statement. Yeah. Now, next, I'm kind of promoting next week's show. We're going to go over who we picked to win the divisions next week. So look out for that episode as well as we get into football season. Number 9, I have Trevor Lawrence. I think
can't do it.
I think last year, the last half of the season, we saw what he could be. Sorry, we'll read that question in a little bit here. What we saw, last year from the last half of the season of Trevor Lawrence in the playoff game where he just didn't give up. He made some bad. I mean, he had 4 interceptions on 5 passes, something like that. It was terrible. But to stick it out, he played really well. Um, he played really well, and I think with the system that they have, they're going to get Calvin Ridley back this year. But don't
Got a
forget
little
about
bit of an
that.
injury.
Um,
I think it's a hamstring type deal that's probably from just sitting for so long and not conditioning
yeah,
himself.
yeah. Um, the offense should get a little better with him. Another whole year in the same system with that head coach. I think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback this year. And I'm hoping for Jacksonville, he could be consistent and have a good year. I'm rooting for the Jaguars. Not a lot of people are rooting for the Jaguars, but I'll be one of them this year, kind of cheering on hopefully Trevor Lawrence to jump out there. But who do you got at number 9?
I already had 9. I had.
Oh, my bad. All right, number 10. I got Tua at number 10. With the question marks of health, if he's healthy and he plays like he did last year when healthy, he was looking fantastic. The Miami Dolphins were going, are they going to win a division?
Yeah. I mean, midway through the season, that's where they were headed.
And we were kind of like, okay, wow, this head coach is the real deal, and Tua's playing all this stuff, and the injuries kind of took him down. So
then he almost died twice. So.
Yeah, he almost died a couple times on the field. So I got him here. Who's your number 10 here, Craig?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh God!
All he does is win football games, and I like the success that he could have with Devontae Adams. I like he puts up stats, he puts up yards. He doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He's not super flashy about it, but it is what it is. And I just think he's successful. Now we will see. I'm interested to see if it was the head coach in Shanahan's system or if he can do it in Neal. He does have a familiar head coach, but
I think it's Shanahan's system.
And maybe. We'll see.
Welcome back, Kat. Welcome back, Kat. Kat says the only thing I'm hoping for is another amazing year from KC. Well, they're going to have a great year, Kat. I hope that they don't win a Super Bowl. We're at that point with them, or I'm at that point with them, where they win so freaking much that I don't want them to win anymore. And that's not a knock on them or you, Kat. That's just I want someone else to win it. Okay, let's not have another Tom Brady and win 17 Super Bowls. Let's spread the love around a little bit. But they're gonna have another good year. I'm Walking Dead this year. Wow, that's terrible, Jeff. That is terrible. All right, well, I have 2 at 10. I have honorable mentions in the top 10, Derek Carr, Matthew Stafford, and a lot of people are going to throw Lamar Jackson in there, but I have Lamar like 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, I have Russell and
it's not no haterade. It's just
yeah.
There comes a point where you get tired of saying people winning, unless it's your team, then you don't, and that would be Kat. So she gets to rub it in our face a little bit.
Now
that's all right.
This I want to talk about this for a second because I think he's onto something here. There's a very good possibility of that. And
the question is, will we see 1,000-yard tight end soon?
And you know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we could see it. I think teams
Travis Kelce or maybe
Andrews in Baltimore.
In Baltimore, that's a good target there. I think there's too many other weapons in Philadelphia. Philadelphia's got a really good tight end. That kid Goddard that they drafted, he's really good. But I think there's too many other weapons in Philadelphia to get him 1,000 yards. Be interesting to see what Dallas does. I think they just have too many tight ends to that there won't be one consistent one that plays all the time to get that many yards. But
You
Dak
got
Prescott
you
does like
got
the tight end. You know,
you got a lot of other weapons there too.
you do.
Kelsey's probably the best one
Probably
that
your
could
best
get
option.
1,000. We might see Green Bay have something like that because we don't know what Love's going to shoot
Yeah.
for as his first season. So we'll see. Let's talk a little Dallas Cowboys here, Craig. I know that's going to float your boat here a little bit. Jeff asked this question here. He says a question for later in the episode is Parsons in the last year before an option. I just get a weird feeling from him if they don't win soon or go far in the playoffs. Micah Parsons is an absolute beast. I'm surprised at how great he is already in the NFL. And I think next year there's an option. They have to pay him because you got the whole. Well, I don't want to get into that just yet, but
Of what they pay him as.
no, it's just a different question about somebody else on the team, and I want to get into that in a second. On a side note here, Micah Parsons is going to get paid.
Yes.
He is. I mean,
there will be a revolt in Dallas if he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere, Jeff. I feel more of first of all, he's pretty young. He's going to get his first huge contract from the Dallas Cowboys and stick it out. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he wants to win or try and win a championship here. My thing with him, my only thing against Mike, not against, but my only negative to say is he gets burnt out, and by the end of the year, he kind of drops off a little bit. You look at his sack numbers last year. He started off on a historic pace, and then the last 6 or 7 games, I think he only had 1 sack that whole time. So he gets burnt out pretty quickly. And then that, why he gets burnt out pretty quickly? Because he gives every play 100%. And that's a great thing. But I think with the addition they had this year in the draft pick with what's his face from Michigan,
Mozzie,
I think he's going to help out. I think I think his defense is going to be pretty good this year with the additions that they have. I think that's going to help him a little bit, not have to play as hard right off the bat. I don't know. He's got to pace himself a little bit, but
well, he's not because he almost killed our quarterback the other day.
Yeah,
he hit Dak Prescott in training camp.
Yeah,
they were like, "Okay, go sit down.
Let's just go sit down. Let's chill out."
He almost blew his knee up in opening week of training camp. They're saying that he's having a training camp for the ages. They said
every play you watch, he's in the backfield.
Yeah.
I mean, he just threw who's his face. He just threw he used to be one of your best. Tyron Smith around like a rag doll with one arm. He did the one arm.
Speed, power rush.
Yeah, through him to the ground.
And
insane. Guy's an absolute beast. I don't know how.
And
he wasn't number one.
He's not a linebacker. He's an edge rusher, and the fact that they were able to move him there and find that by process of injury is incredible. So I think he's there for a long time, and that's where he wants to be.
Now here's your real problem this season. Your Zach Martin problem. And this kind of goes into that because
Jerry's going to show up when
Jerry Jones came out and said, we got to pay Micah Parsons. We got to pay other people. There's no solution here. If he doesn't show up, then there's consequences to pay. I don't know if he sits out, but if that offensive line is without Zach Martin, you have a whole big issue on your hand.
Zach Martin texted the offensive line room and said, "I'll be there shortly. You guys hold it down until I get there." He's making a statement. He's trying to get the extra money, but he knows as well as everybody that come time to be there, come time to where he starts to lose money, he'll show up. Because those fines used to be reversible. They used to be when you showed up, the organization could waive those. Now they're not. So when you start losing money out of your pocket that you already don't think you have enough of, and I get it. Zach is the top guy, and he's a top tackle in football, and I get it, and he's not wrong, but we got 9 other guys. Lamb needs to be extended. We need to rework the Prescott contract. We got to have Micah, sign. They just signed Malik Hooker for a 3-year. They extended him for 3 years. So Dallas is in a dire position to where a lot of people need money, and there's only so much. Stephen Jones has always said there's only so much of the pie. It just got to how you cut it. And when you got a quarterback that makes all that money, I think eventually Dak Prescott, he wants to be successful, is going to have to be along the Aaron Rodgers window, and he's going to have to. He got his money. He's made a couple good seasons now of top quarterback money. Now it's time to restructure it and allow for Martin and allow for Micah and allow for those guys to get theirs. So that's going to be where the money comes from. It's whether or not Prescott is willing to do it.
Yeah, I hope for all the drama there. So I hope Zach Martin doesn't show up. It'd be fantastic, but we'll see. I think he shows up as well. I got a question that's not Dallas Cowboy related, and that is,
yeah, I think he has to, Jeff. I think he does have to restructure his contract. I think he has to eventually take a pay cut and free some of that money up and give him his signing bonus to where his is guaranteed, but use where the cap hit is not, deal. You just kind of move the money around, and Dallas has done that well for years to come. Has kicked the can down the road, and you don't have to worry about that because Prescott's going to be around for a long time, so you can move money for down the road.
did Sean Payton cross the line?
100%.
Sean Payton comes out and starts killing the job that, and I'm going to forget his name.
Nathaniel Hackett. He
There
just
you
went
go.
scorched earth on Nathaniel Hackett.
He went scorched earth on Nathaniel Hackett. Did he cross the line? And I love it. I love that he crossed the line because I love the drama. We can talk about it, and it's fantastic for entertainment. But he crossed the line, and and I don't know if he crossed. He's kind of known to be an a-hole, right? That's what we've heard. He's kind of known to be that way. Did he cross the line because he just came back from media and he thought he could say those things? I don't think he needs to say what we all saw. We all saw the derailment of the Denver Broncos last year and how bad it got. Sorry, Jeff, but that's just a cold hard fact. Now, I was going somewhere with that. I was going somewhere so good with that, and then I lost my train of thought. But it was one of the worst coaching jobs we've seen. Yes, I agree 100%. But here's where I was going with that. If I'm a new coach, Sean the Savage Payton, if I'm a new coach and you start asking me about last year, I don't care about last year. I'm here now. We're putting my system in. I'm ready for the future. I'm not talking about last year. I wasn't here last year. We all saw what happened, and I'm here. I'm here for a reason. That's all I'm saying. I'm focused on the future. He did cross the line in the coaching world, and maybe made some enemies along the way. Aaron Rodgers says, "Keep my coach out of your mouth," and all that crap. But now he's a tough guy there in New York all of a sudden. But it's interesting that even though I think a lot of us believe what he said was true, you just can't say that as a position that he's in.
I just don't see the purpose of it. Like, I just don't see what he gained by it. Like, did he make the Denver Broncos better by saying Nathaniel Hackett was the worst guy, that he couldn't have coached a Pee Wee football team? Like, no, I just you don't make any friends. You don't, other coaches that have been on your staff or been underneath you, and they're going, oh my God, is he going to say that about me? Like, what's next? I mean, that you just don't. There was nothing that the Denver Broncos organization or the football team or Sean Payton gain other than just a boatload of attention and people talking about him by saying that. Like, the Denver Broncos did not get any better because Sean Payton goes scorched earth on the deal. take that scorched earth deal and get your quarterback in line and get him on the same page and get him back to being an NFL football player because he was not last year. And so focus that energy on that instead of talking about a guy who clearly was in over his head. And and there's some guys that are just meant to be coordinators, and some guys that are built to be head coaches. And not every guy has the management trait, has the management gene in his body. Some people are built to do that, some people aren't. And that's just that, clearly Nathaniel Hackett is probably not one of those guys that you want running the show.
He's not a head coach guy.
Yeah, and he probably doesn't get another opportunity because of this. But I mean, maybe he doesn't want one.
Jeff says, I think it was more of undisciplined players, the way the locker room was run by many things, not just Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh, I totally agree.
I get that, but at the end of the day, that falls upon
as the head coach, you've got to be able to rein that in.
Yeah. And some people aren't made for it. Some people aren't made for head coaching positions where you have to have the complete control over every aspect of the game, and you're more focused. I think Nathaniel Hackett is more focused, a guy that's more good of an offensive coordinator or whatever he needs to be, other than the head coach kind of player, but or head coaching type of job. So the biggest key there is Russell Wilson going to look like an NFL quarterback next season? You have the Kamara suspension. We saw this coming. He got 3 games. You've got Okuda from the Falcons. They just got this year and over the offseason. Got hurt, but he's
Saints are in trouble
back.
at running back too because their backup guy just blew his Achilles tendon.
That's fun.
Yeah,
we're seeing a lot of injuries now, and I hate to see these during preseason.
Devastating injuries
and OTAs. And
the guy from the Broncos tore his Achilles tendon. He's gone for the year.
Didn't the Bronco guy get suspended for gambling?
Not only suspended, he's about to go to jail, it looks like.
Something about that.
He was betting back in Iowa State.
Yeah, he's facing like up to. I'm like, holy crap, that's a whole new level.
Yeah, that's become. There's an article I just wrote the other day on it and put on a deal. That on that gambling, it's become just insane.
And there's going to be more to come. I mean,
this is just the beginning. Eventually you are going to see a huge name. I don't know when. It may be this year, but you're going to see a huge name, and it's going to happen. And that's where the NFL is going to be like, all right.
All right. Well, is there any other NFL questions that we got? Comments? We did our top 10 quarterback lists. It's definitely interesting. See where people were on there. I knew from 6 on was going to be interesting. Well, next week we're going to do our division winners. We'll go over through the division, look at the schedules, see who we think is going to win that division, and go from there before the season starts. We got. Is there a fight tonight, Craig? I know we're going out to.
There's if you want to call it that, Jake Paul and Nate Diaz. The UFC, the guy that was in the UFC and Nate Diaz, and then Jake Paul, the YouTuber who's turned boxer, who's trying to fight all these guys that are on the backsides of their careers and knock them out. And the one good thing about Nate Diaz is he won't, if it's been suspected that some of these guys have taken the bankroll that Jake Paul can provide and went and laid down and got knocked out and just taken the cash. Nate Diaz is not known to do that. But if you like blood, it'll be a bloodbath because Nate Diaz has so much scar tissue that as soon as anything touches him, he bleeds. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean, I call it a deal because Nate Diaz came out yesterday and says, I don't even know the rules of boxing. He's like, I'm used to being able to kick and punch and grapple and, can I not do that? And they're like, no, you can't do any of that. None of those things. So it'll be interesting to see if he was just really joking or if he tries to make this a UFC.
Goes out there and draw the high knee right off the bat, knocks him out.
Goes down there and throws a flying head kick and knocks Jake Paul out, and then they go,
It'd be
you're
entertaining.
disqualified, but it was fun to watch. So yeah.
Do you guys like the new sideline hats? They're okay.
They always come out with draft stuff. They go,
I like the draft hats. I did order me a Green Bay one, and
Yeah.
it's sitting on the shelf over there. I'm gonna wear this season.
Some of the Major League Baseball ones that just came out are really I like the I mean, I've never seen that many different versions come out over the year. I could spend a lot of money at the hat store when I was.
I got the city edition for Texas. I got the July 4th edition. I got the Father's Day edition back to back. They're fantastic. You know who really
the option of flex pay on those is dangerous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the ones you're talking about, Jeff, because there's a different one I had, but he's talking about the ones. It's like 2 different colors down the middle, and then it's just a big, huge NFL logo. I'm not a big fan of those. No, not one bit. The other ones where they're all blacked out, and then they have like some gray, and then they have the team name with the color of team line through. I don't know. It's hard to see without actually having a picture. I did a little episode last night, a little solo shot about how the Rangers won the trade deadline.
Sure
Fantastic
did.
pickups.
That kid pitched the gym last night. So
yeah, so we won the trade deadline. How that, I wasn't going to go crazy, Jeff, and thinking we're going to win the World Series, but we've never seen the Rangers.
Right now, you just need to focus on winning the division. You only got one game lead.
Oh yeah, the fight for this division with the Astros is going to be entertaining, and I didn't think we'd be here this year. The fact that we're already here,
I thought you were a couple years away still.
Is fantastic, and that's what I was saying. As a Rangers fan, we're excited. I've never heard the Rangers in their lifetime come out and say, like Chris Young the other day, our GM came out and said, we're willing to pay out of our own pocket to go over the cap. Language. Fantastic.
If you are John Daniels, you are picking up the phone. Are you kidding me right now? I got fired because you guys wouldn't spend any money, and now you can spend all the money and extra money. I'm coming back, and I'm going to burn the place down because I would be too. Scorched earth.
Yeah, you didn't let him spend any money. Now that we're spending money, and maybe they didn't believe in the way he wanted to spend it.
I don't know.
That's something I think too.
Well, then fire him long before you did. But
when I was talking about it last night, about maybe they believed in Chris Young's plan for the future.
It appears they're all in. We're on World Series of Poker, just right into the middle of the table.
I know. I know. Jeff says Yankees are beating Astros right now, so we're helping you out. That's fantastic.
Because you didn't last night.
I never thought you'd hear me say "Go Yankees" in my lifetime, but go freaking Yankees if you're playing the Astros. We got Chapman, which he's been actually really freaking good for us, except until we play the Astros. He still gets rocked there.
And we
can't
hit it over the train tracks.
Yeah, we can't put it. We can't put him in against Houston, but anybody else he looks pretty good against. So I'm excited about that. It's exciting time of the year. We got college football coming up. We got NFL coming up. We got the finishing parts of baseball. Figure out the races that are going to happen. So it's a good time of the year right now for sports fans.
As Brian puts it, the dead time of sports is over. It's not
the dead time of sports is over. It's time to wake up, get us back on the show. Super excited about it. Let's get in before we shut this down. Let's get into what's in your locker, Craig, as I already kind of know for tonight. But go ahead and tell us what's in your locker for the rest of this weekend.
Not a whole lot. Just enjoying not having to go to work. It's nice to not have to work Saturdays, even though the phone was blowing off the hook at 7:30 this morning. No big deal. Just gonna hit a little barbecue tonight and hang out with some of the guys. And it's normally a twice a year function
shindig
with Austin, and so that'll be super interesting to deal. Go maybe try to defend these cornhole championship belts. Hang those on the wall of the office so those guys can see them. And tomorrow, not do much of anything. Just relax. Get ready for next week and be ready to go Monday morning. What about you? What's in your locker?
Well, I'll be at the same shindig you're going to be at. Austin throws these awesome parties, gets togethers for the guys at work, and we go hang out and have a good time. He's cooking brisket and he's got
Ribs.
brisket and ribs, and we got the pool party and cornhole going on. So it's going to be a fantastic evening tonight.
Gotta hope my cornhole partner iced his back last night, so he's not on the injured list.
It's feeling a little better. I might be able to play today. I might be able to play. So I'm a game time decision.
I'll take another partner and drag him, and
I'm a game time decision.
Yeah.
But we went today and watched Halton practice. They had a scrimmage today. I got basically a nephew there that plays for Halton football, and he actually didn't get to scrimmage because he's got a knee issue right now. So then we went out to eat. I got my hair cut. Like you see, looking pretty nice for the office next week. But
it looked nice in the truck too. So.
Yeah.
just
yeah.
Why?
I hope it doesn't come to that, but we will see.
So did I. But
yeah, I'm having brisket tonight. I'm cooking my first brisket tomorrow, and then we're actually cooking another brisket next weekend.
Oh, so we're going to Brian's house tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, I got brisket,
and
the great thing is, I didn't pay for any of the briskets, so
which is good if you've seen the brisket price point lately.
Yes, it's fantastic. So I've been watching videos on how to cook a brisket, and a smoke a brisket will be my first one. I know they're kind of, dude, I'm learning all sorts of tricks and do this and do that. Don't do this, and we'll see how it turns out. So. But that's what we got going on this weekend. I better go spend some time with the wife before I go to the party tonight, or she's going to kill me.
Yeah.
Other than that, guys, look forward to our show next week. We're going to go out and give you our playoffs. Well, not our playoff picture, but our division winners, and go from there.
Wild card and playoff winners or playoff success.
Yeah, we'll do our division next week, and then the week after we'll probably do our playoff bracket and then our Super Bowl winner. But we'll go from there, guys. We're going to start doing this on Saturdays, Tuesdays and Saturdays coming up. Next week will probably just be on next Saturday, and then when football season starts, we'll go back into 2 episodes a week and go from there. All right, guys. Well, it's been a great show, a great weekend. God bless, and remember,
keep it outspoken.